Good afternoon, folks. Today I'm bringing you one of those recipes that is so straightforward, so easy, it actually feels quite immoral to call it a recipe. It's really just putting things together and eating it. Today I want to take you guys through Ricotta Tart Two Ways. We're going to be making, at the exact same time, a gorgeous tomato ricotta tart and a lovely, sweet, seasonal berry ricotta tart. One celebrates that classic cheese and tomato flavour combination, a little bit fancy olive oil on top, some dried herbs, some flaky salt. The other one, creamy, juicy, sweet, a little tiny bit sour, gorgeous. Easy, simple, quick, low effort, nutritious, run out of fingers. I'll drop the phone if I use the other hand, gorgeous. As always, full recipe will be in the description box below and at maverickbaking.com, but let's get into making ricotta tart two ways. So, the super easy base for both of these tarts involves puff pastry, ready rolled, and just a little bit of basic full-fat ricotta cheese. For the berries, you're going to want to wash, hull, and quarter those strawberries. You can leave the raspberries full if you like, give them a little rinse, halve them depending on how big they are, and of course don't forget to quality taste test. For the tomato ricotta tart, you can use all cherry or plum tomatoes. I like to use a couple of different colours just because it makes it look fancier than it is. Washing and slicing the tomatoes into kind of halves or thirds depending on how big they are. Take a couple of trays. I just moved into a new place recently, so I still have these kind of disposable ones for the moment, but I am going to reuse them because I don't actually get too dirty with this recipe. Line the base with a little bit of baking paper, greaseproof paper, to help you take it out afterwards. Unroll your puff pastry sheet and cut it in half. If you like, if you're doing this for a bigger crowd, feel free to use 2 full sheets, but I was only feeding myself and one other person, so 1 sheet did perfectly fine for 2 tarts. If you like, you can cut a border of a couple of centimeters, almost like a little frame, kind of around the edges of the pastry as a guide to where to stop when spreading the ricotta. This way we can make a nice little kind of crust folding over. The ricotta part, super simply, just spread it, just kind of halve it evenly between both tarts, spread it evenly over the top, and then arrange your fruit and or vegetables. Actually, I think tomatoes technically are a fruit, you know what I mean, over the top. For the tomatoes, I also add a little bit of olive oil, some dried rosemary, dried thyme, and salt. And for the berries, I just put them on and add a little bit of sugar. You could also add honey. Careful not to use too much because too much liquid will make it a bit soggy. And then just stick them in a nice hot oven for 30 to 40 minutes until they're looking puffed, golden, and all the bits and pieces on top are nice and tender, but not kind of completely burnt to a crisp, ideally. And that's it. That is your extremely easy lunch idea, picnic idea, little sweet and salty snack idea, even a breakfast, to be honest. These are both light but also really satisfying. There's a good combination of kind of creamy and that nice acidity at the same time. Big fan of this at the moment and can't wait to experiment with more flavors. Let me know how you like them.